except for the last 5 or so years, instead of like cocaine and heroin being 3-4, it's now been prescription drugs like Adderall, Oxycontin, Vicodin that have now come in third, and people have been using those and abusing those in fully wrong ways. And it's become more prevalent in the athletic community, and we asked him a lot of athletic questions because he is the athletic director. But he's also said that there's been no increase or decrease in users in the athletics over the past 20 years. It's been a constant amount of students that use and abuse drugs during their high school years while they're in athletics. And then we asked him, why doesn't ESU drug test people, or why doesn't the state drug test athletes, even though they signed the form, the code of conduct form of the MSHSL that says that they'll be chemical free. And he said, because it either A, costs too much, it's way too much of an expenditure for ESU to spend on all the athletes, or statewide, it's just too much money to spend on every single athlete in the state. And what about those towns that are out pretty much nowhere? How are they going to test them in the same way that they test people here, like in the suburban areas? And then also, there's a privacy issue with it. After they do the drug testing, how would they use the results? What would they use the results for? Would the results be released to everybody, or would it just be released to that person or that team? And there's just a lot of ambiguity about it.
Alright, Officer Plants explained to us his belief on how illegal drug consumption within the ESU community is attributed to the mental health of students. He believes the best solution is to provide the proper support for students. This includes friendships, parenting, and counseling. So basically, Officer Plants spoke to us about how our community really impacts what students do and how they perceive the situations they're in, especially involving illegal drugs. He feels that it's best if we come together as a community and we speak to our students, and we also provide help for any people who are going through anything, maybe at home, maybe with friendships or with any issues inside school.
And then our outside interview, we interviewed Felipa Myers, and we just had a brief interview with her, but her approach to treating her clients is to teach the client how to break the addictive cycle, teach the client adaptive coping and problem-solving skills required to maintain abstinence, and then support and guide the client through trouble spots and setbacks that might lead to relapse.
And then we found some mobile apps that we thought would be helpful for people. So with Uber, obviously, if you're like under the influence of an illegal drug, or someone like your designated driver or someone is, you can always call for a ride to get home safely. And then quit addiction is something where you can track how many days you've been sober from drugs, and it helps you like reach your goal of not being addicted to it anyways.
And then some actions some people can take against drugs is just say no. If you say no and you're with a group of people and there's maybe 3-4 people in a group of 8, they're like, hey, let's go do some drugs, let's go smoke, let's do something. And if one person says no, it makes it so much easier for the rest of the people to say no and not give into that peer pressure. If no one stands up and just says no, then you're all at risk of just doing the drugs and then becoming addicted. But again, if one person says no, it makes it easier for everybody else in the group to say no. And then another thing is you want to get involved. If you're more involved with activities either in or outside of school, like a job or a club or activity or sport, it's statistically proven that you will be less likely to fall to drugs, and you'll be surrounded by people who want to see you do the best that you are, be the best that you are, and they want to see you fall to the drugs, and then they will help support you through anything that you're going through. And then just be an example. If you have any younger siblings or any young people that look up to you, you don't want to set a bad example. And even if they don't know that you do anything, there's still that bit of guilt that you might have, and you might feel really bad about it. And then also, if you don't have anyone young that looks up to you, what about the other high schoolers, the freshmen, the sophomores? They're looking up to us to set good examples for them. And if they see us just using drugs and partying and everything, they're gonna think that's okay for them. And then the cycle continues until one grade breaks the cycle and just sets a good example for the other grades to come.
So our risk factor determinants are academic failure, so that's when you obviously aren't doing well in school, and then the no sense of belonging, which is like not feeling welcome or like they belong in our Eastview community. And then our solutions for that, for academic failures, for like the adults and staff here at Eastview to make their schedules a little bit more flexible, to help students with whatever subjects they're failing in, and then to make Eastview feel more inclusive. So during pep fests and games like that, we can make each and every student feel a lot more welcome here. And then our positive factors are being more informed, so well aware of like the illegal drugs and what they actually are and the different effects. And then being involved in a substance-free activity, so not just sports but other theater programs and clubs like that. And then our solution for the being informed is to make yourself more aware of what the actual issue is, and maybe in some of our wellness classes go more in depth about the topic of illegal drugs. And then Mason has our best solution for it.
So our best solution for combating illegal drugs here at Eastview would be the EVHS chemical free form. There are 3 forms of chemical free you need to sign to, or you need to sign 2 of them, one of them you don't need to participate in athletics here at Eastview. We have the Minnesota State High School League. There's one there that gives you a code of conduct that says you will not be under the influence of drugs and chemicals. And you have to sign that to be registered with the MSHSL to be able to play sports. And then I have the second one, which is the District 196 Code of Conduct, which also says that you will not be under the influence of drugs and alcohol while you are participating in sports or in high school. And then there's also a third one that is not mandatory, but in football and wrestling, they both push it. You sign your name, and unlike these ones, where you just sign your name once, on that one you sign your name, you get 2 teachers to sign it for you, you get 5 friends to sign it for you, and you get 1 coach to sign it for you. And it really means something then, because if you do end up using and abusing, you're gonna let down all those people that signed your chemical free form and trusted you that you'll be chemical free for at least the season. And that just is a big part of Eastview. And for football, it's a big thing. You actually get letter points if you turn in your chemical free form. And obviously some people want to build up to getting a letter in football. They want to be on that varsity team. They want to get that varsity jacket. And this is one way to do it. But it's more than just signing your name and a couple other people's names. It's a big commitment. And by having other people sign it, you are held accountable by those people. And we think that that chemical free form should be pushed by more sports like lacrosse or other sports. I don't believe any girls' sports require it, but I know, well, no sports require it, but push it. And we believe that if sports and coaches pushed it harder on their athletes, that there would be a decrease in student abuse of drugs over the next couple of years.
Thank you for watching our presentation. If you are ever in need of immediate support, here's a number to a hotline for illegal drug prevention and or help. Also, say no to drugs.
All right, see what we got for